Barbara Ragsdale, independent maker with close to my heart. And if you are following me with the Honey Bunny card making workshop assembly cutting instructions, this is the video for the cardstock paper that came in with your kit. So you should have 5 pieces of cardstock, 12 by 12 cardstock in 5 different colors. And we're going to be starting on page 3. So the cutting guide for cardstock starts on page 3 and then goes to the back side, which is half of number 4. So let's go ahead and get started. Go ahead and grab your piece of Seabrook, which is this color right here. And I'm going to set all of these other ones aside. Now, if you followed me with the pattern paper cutting video, you know I've got 4 stacks right in front of me, 1, 2, 3, 4, that I've separated for my cards. So in this video, I will be showing you not just the alphabetic reference, but the number reference so that you know what stack to put each in. Also, I will be telling you if we're going to be cutting the light side or the dark side, and I'm showing the dark side of Seabrook, and then the flip side is lighter. And we're going to be starting with our dark side. So go ahead and get your paper in your trimmer. And the first cut, sometimes I have to bring this a little bit closer so I can see it, is going to be at 5 1/4, 5 1/4, all the way down. Okay, now turn your paper where the long side's going along the top, and we're going to cut 3 pieces at 4 inches. 3 pieces at 4 inches. So we're not going to have any scraps on this cut. Now those 3 pieces that are, sorry about that, 4 by 5 1/4, these go to 3A. So you can put that with your stack of 3s. The next cut, let's go ahead and get our paper back in our trimmer, and let's cut it at 4 inches. 4 inches. Turn your paper where the long side's up at the top and cut it at 5 1/4. And if you're following me, that's the same cut that we just cut on those other 3. So this goes to 3A. So that's the 4th piece that goes to 3A. Now that paper that we have left, we're going to flip it to the lighter side. So you're cutting on the lighter side, but I will tell you that on this, these are going to be for project 1 and 4, and you're going to be doing some die cutting with your thin cuts. It looks like these are the smaller pieces. So let's go ahead and cut it first. Get your paper where the short sides along the top, and let's cut it at 2.5 inches. Okay, so let's go ahead and get that out of the way, and that'll tell me what size of butterflies we're going to be cutting with this. Now, turn that paper where your long sides along the top. Now, we are cutting the lighter side, and cut 3 of them at 2 inches. Cut 3 at 2 inches. 3 at 2 inches. There we go. Now, these 3 pieces, you're going to be doing some die cutting on each one of them, and it looks like that one, and I believe it is the smaller one. Sometimes it's hard to tell which one it is, so let me double check, and that's going to be the top one. Actually, it is. Oh my goodness, you guys. These instructions are making it real hard to figure out which one goes where. Because that's kind of a big piece to cut for those small pieces. Or, oh, P4, sorry, P4. P4. Okay, so it is that one. And then the smaller one goes to P1. So, okay, so I see that. All right, oh my goodness. I'm going to have to number these, you guys. All right, so these 3 pieces that we just cut, you're going to be cutting the smaller, larger the smaller, larger butterfly wing, and then the smallest butterfly wing. Okay. Um, Three of them go to P4. So the larger one goes to project 4 and the smaller one goes to project 1. Now, I think when we go to assemble after you've done all your die cutting, you're going to realize what piece it is. So I wouldn't worry about that too much, but I am going to put all of these together and stick this with my little stack I have over here of things that I need to die cut. Now, this piece that's left over in your trimmer, that is scrap. So put that with your scraps. This piece, also this piece right here, this smaller piece right here, that's scrap as well. This larger piece that we have left, you're going to be doing some die cutting as well with this one. Let's go ahead and cut these pieces down. This piece is already 2 3/4 inches wide. Go ahead and turn it to where your long side is at the top and cut 1, 2, 3, 4 of them at 2.5 inches. So let's cut 4 at 2.5 inches. 3 and 4. Okay. So these 4 pieces that we just cut, and we are going to be using the darker side. We're also going to be doing some die cutting with this one, and it looks like we're going to be using the larger wing P4. Let me just double check. It looks like the larger wing, and it looks like the last wing that's on my thin cuts there. It looks like those 2 pieces. It's hard to tell because these are not numbered. These pieces, these thin cut pieces, are not numbered with the instructions. So if you need to take a look at P4 uses this large one. P1 is using that size. And I can tell because the bottom of P1 uses even the smaller one. Okay. So, all right. So all 4 of those, you're going to be cutting a piece from each one of them. Now we'll tell you, these are kind of large pieces to be die cutting these. So you could very well, if you're trying to minimize your scraps, you could do 2 large ones on each one, or you can do 1 there and then put this kind of sideways. I can get this in place here. Do this sideways, and you can actually get 3 of them off the bottom, 3 of these smaller ones. And then on the second piece, you can do 1. You can do 2 on the second piece. And then on a third piece, you can do 1 more of those and 1 of the smaller ones. I'm having a hard time grabbing stuff, you guys. And then you'll have a piece of scrap left over along with, well, it'll be this one because we're about to cut this one some more. Okay. So I'm going to put all of these pieces together in my little pile of things that need to be die cut. This piece that's in our trimmer, we're going to use that. Now it tells me to cut it down a little bit. So we're going to cut it down a little bit. It's already 2 inches wide. Turn it to where the longer side's at the top and cut it at 2.5 inches. This honestly doesn't mean a whole lot to me, but this piece right here, you're going to be cutting another set of, this goes with the one a while ago where we were cutting, it's the same size as the 3 we cut, and we're going to be using the lighter side that we cut a while ago. So we cut 3 of them a while ago where we used that one and that one. It's the same cut. Okay. It is the same cut. Now this little piece is scrap. It was almost pointless to cut that off, but I went ahead and cut it off because that's what the instructions say, right? All right. So the next piece we want to pull is our piece of peach, which is this one right here. And we're going to be cutting on the darker side first. So make sure you're cutting on the darker side. And oh my goodness, you guys, it's a lot. It's a lot because a lot of these, only 4 of these are cuts for cards, and the rest of them are going to be for projects. And this is going to be so super confusing. So let's get started, right? So the first cut we're going to be doing is at 4 1/4. All right, let's go ahead and get these bigger cuts out of the way. On the dark side, and flip your paper where your long piece is along the top and cut 3 pieces at 3 1/4. 3 pieces at 3 1/4. And you know there's going to be a 4th piece somewhere else in the next set of cuts. Now these 3 pieces on the dark side that are 4 1/4 by 3 1/4, these go to 2C. So put that with your stack of 2s, 2C. This little piece that's left is scrap. And then get your paper back in your trimmer where the short side's along the top and cut it at 3 1/4. Right? And then turn your paper long ways and cut it at 4 1/4. And you know that's the piece that we just cut, right? So that also goes to 2C. This piece that's left, go ahead and get it back in your trimmer and oh my goodness, you guys. Let's go ahead and cut it at 1 inches. 1 inches on the dark side. This one's the dark side. Okay. Now turn your paper where it is the long side along the top and cut 4 of them at 1 3/4. Cut 4 pieces at 1 3/4. One more. There we go. These 4 pieces that are 1 3/4 go to P3, and P's mean project, so that means that you're going to be doing some die cutting. And let me take a peek at 3, and it looks like P3. It looks like it's this size right here. And I wish I could tell you what size that was. I guess I could get my little ruler out. It looks like it's the one that measures a little more than 1/4 of an inch wide with the wings. So you're going to be cutting 4 of those for P3 on the dark side. So if you need to get a sticky note out and make a note of that, I'm going to keep them dark side up so I know which one it goes to. A lot of die cutting. This little piece that's left is scrap. Now put your paper back in your trimmer, but flip it over to the light side. And we're going to be doing the same thing with this one. So cut it at 1 inch all the way down. Turn your paper where your long sides along the top and cut 4 of them at 1 3/4. So we're doing the same thing that we just did on the dark side, but we're cutting some pieces for the light side as well. And then one more. So you have 4 pieces that are 1 by 1 3/4. And that same piece that we just looked at, you're going to be doing the same thing with that one. You're going to cut 4 of those, and those are going to go to P3. P3 on the light side. And that goes with my stack of things to die cut. This little bitty piece that's left is scraps, as well as this long piece right here. This piece right here, scraps. Now you've got this one big piece that is left, and we're going to be cutting on the dark side. It's more die cutting, you guys. It's more die cutting. Oh my goodness. I might have to do another video just for die cutting all these pieces. All right. So let's get started. We're going to be cutting on the dark side. Get your paper back in your trimmer where your short side's along the top and make a cut at 2 1/4. 2 1/4. There we go. All right, let's flip it and cut 2 of them at 3 inches. So 2 of them at 3 inches. And these pieces that are 2 1/4 by 3, you're going to be cutting, oh my goodness, you guys. You're going to be using the largest butterfly wing, and what's P4 is the smallest one. So the largest one, if I can grab it, and the smallest one. Let's go ahead and we're going to be cutting a couple of more pieces in the next one, so you'll have 4 pieces, but you're going to on 4 pieces, you're going to be cutting the largest one and the smallest one. So let me put that off to the side, because the way the instructions are, we're going to be cutting 2 more pieces here in just a few moments. That piece that's still in your trimmer, we're going to cut 2 pieces at 2 1/4. 2 pieces at 2 1/4. Let's just go ahead and cut it. We're going to be using the lighter side when we go to do our die cutting. And these are going to be for P1 and P4. P1 and P4. And right now I can't tell which ones they are. So just mark them for P1 and P4. Okay, so let's put those off to the side, because this piece that's left is scrap. And with this piece that's left, we're going to be cutting the same cuts again. So this is already 2 1/4 inches wide. So cut 2 of them at 3 inches. Yeah, this is going to get super confusing. I'm really considering doing another video for just die cuts, you guys. So make sure you stay tuned. Once I can wrap my head around the sizes, I think that'll help not just me, but it'll help you as well. So these 2 pieces, these are the other 2 pieces that went with the larger ones from a while ago, the largest one and the smallest one. That's the same cut. Okay. So on that one, that was going to be P1 and P4. So the big one and the littlest one. And there's ways where we can maximize these pieces, and you may even have another piece of scrap or 2, at least another piece of scrap left over. So I'm going to put those aside. And then now that piece that's left, flip it to your lighter side and cut 2 pieces at 2 1/4. And those are the other 2 pieces to the first 2 pieces that we just cut a few minutes ago. Okay. And those are also P1 and P4. So I'm going to keep my little stack right there. And this piece that's left over is scrap. Now the next piece is going to be your piece of limeade. So it's this piece right here. And we're going to be cutting on the dark side first. So let me flip it to the dark side. Get your paper in your trimmer and let's cut it all the way down at 1 inch. And 1 inch. Turn your paper long ways and cut 4 of them. I'm sorry, 3 of them at 4 inches. 3 at 4 inches. So 1, 2, and 3. So those pieces that are 1 by 4 go to 1C. 1C. So put that with your stack of 1s. Get your paper back in your trimmer and cut another one down at 1 inches. Turn it landscape, long side along the top, and cut one more at 4 inches. And that'll be your fourth piece that goes to 1C. This piece that's left over is scrap. And we have more die cutting. How about that? So let's just go ahead and cut the pieces. And I just made a decision. I'm going to do another video for all of the die cutting, okay? Because this is super confusing here. So let's get our paper back in our trimmer. Bear with me here. Oh my goodness, I had to cough there and I didn't want to cough in the video. So let's cut it. Get your paper back in your trimmer and cut at 2 1/4 all the way down. Okay. And then turn it landscape and cut 1, 2, 3, 4 more pieces at 2 1/4. 4 more pieces at 2 1/4. 4 pieces. There we go. So these 4 pieces that are 2 1/4 by 2 1/4, just put those in your die cutting stack. These are going to go to P2 and P3. And yeah, P2 and P3. And then get, okay, so this piece that's still in your trimmer, we're going to cut, honestly, you guys, it says to cut it 1 by 1 1/2, and you got 4 pieces. But oh gosh, okay, let's just cut it. Let's just cut it. Let's cut 2 pieces at 1 inch. So get that piece, and then that same piece that's in there, let's cut it at 1 inch. I had my own thoughts about just leaving it the piece that it was, because you're going to be cutting 4 of the same butterflies out of the same piece, but I'm just going with the instructions. And now flip 1 piece sideways and cut it at 1 1/2. 1 1/2. Okay, and then take the other piece and cut it in half at 1 1/2. Okay, so you're going to have 4 pieces that are 1 by 1 1/2, and these all go to project 4. Project 4. So you're going to be cutting some butterfly pieces with that. So this goes to project 4. So put that little stack over there. And this little piece that came off is scrap. All right, now let's cut. Are we on the light side or the dark side? We're on the dark side. Okay, let's cut it at 2 inches all the way down. So get your paper back in your trimmer, 2 inches all the way down, and turn it where your long sides along the top. And we're going to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to cut 8 pieces at 1 1/2 inches. So we're not going to have any scraps with this. So cut it at 1 1/2 all the way down, and eventually you're going to have 8 pieces that are the same. And we're going to be using half of them for one project and half of them for another project. So let's just take 4 of those pieces. And 4 of those are going to go to project number 3. So take 4 of those, and that's going to be project number 3. And the other 4 pieces that we cut are going to be for project number 4, P4. Okay. And that's enough for this piece. This large piece of limeade is scrap. Oh my goodness, that's a good piece of scrap there. All right, so finally, we're going to flip over to page number 4, and we're going to be cutting up our piece of black and white daisy, and then we will be done. So let's get this going. Grab your piece of black, and it does not matter what side you cut, because black is the same color on both sides. And on this one, is nothing but projects. It's nothing but projects. And you're going to be cutting these pieces. So the middle pieces of our little butterfly, we're going to be cutting those pieces. So I'm just going to get us some stacks of black going with P1, P2, and P3 and 4, so that when I go back and do the die cutting video, it'll be easy for me. And you only have 2 pieces here, so that's super helpful, knowing that we're only dealing with die cutting 2 pieces. So get your paper and your trimmer, and the first cut we're going to do is at 2 inches. 2 inches all the way down. All right, turn your paper sideways where your long piece is at the top, and we're going to cut 1, 2, 3 pieces at 4 inches. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1, 2. These first 2 pieces go to P1. P1. So get you a stack of P1s going. This other piece that's left over is going to be a combination of P2 and P3. So I'm going to put that in my P2 stack, and I will know that when I get to that point. And now we're going to do that again. So let's get your paper back in your trimmer and cut it 2 inches all the way down. And then cut 3 pieces at 4 inches. Okay. And these first 2 pieces are P2, P3. So I'm going to go ahead and put that with the P2s that I just put down. And this last piece is going to be for P4, P3. I'm going to put that with my, it doesn't matter. They're all the same cuts, and I can go back to the instructions and look to see what I need to have done. Okay, now let's get our paper back in our trimmer, because this is going to be the last cut for the black piece. Yay! And cut it at 1 inch all the way down. 1 inch all the way down. Turn it landscape and cut 4 of them at 2 inches. So cut 4 of these at 2 inches. 2 inches and 2 inches. And these 4 pieces that are 1 by 2, they all go to P4, project 4. So I'm going to put that in my P4 stack. This piece that's left over and this large piece of black that we have left over, those are scraps. Scraps. All right, so the last piece that we have left is our piece of white daisy. So let's wrap this up. Get it in your trimmer, and let's cut it at, our first cut's going to be at 4 inches all the way down, 4 inches. And then turn your paper where your long side goes along the top and cut 4 pieces at 3 inches. So we're not going to have any scraps on these cuts right here. These 4 pieces that are 4 by 3, these go to 2D. So put that with your stack of 2s. Get your paper back in your trimmer and cut it at 3 3/4. 3 3/4. Turn your paper where your long side is along the top and cut 2 pieces at 5 inches. Oops. So 2 pieces at 5 inches. These 2 pieces that are 3 3/4. Yeah, 3 3/4 by 5. I almost doubted myself there. Are 3B. So put that with your stack of 3s. This little piece that's left, save it, because this is going to be for project number 1, and you're going to be stamping the sentiment on this 4 times. So instead of cutting it down, they're just referencing this whole piece goes to project number 1. So I'm going to put that with my stack of 1s there. And this piece that's left, let's get that back in our trimmer and cut another piece at 3 3/4 all the way down. Get that lined up. Turn your paper landscape and cut 2 pieces at 5 inches. And if you are following me, you know that these other 2 pieces that are 3 3/4 by 5 also go to 3B. So put that with your stack of 3s. This piece of white daisy cardstock and this long strip of white daisy cardstock, those are scraps. And that is it, you guys. So that's it for the cardstock cutting video. I will tell you all of that die cutting for the limeade and the all of the die cutting. I'm gonna have to wrap my head around which pieces, because that was a little confusing. So give me a few moments to upload a video for the die cutting. I'm going to number these butterfly wings so that you know which one goes with which card. And then also, you may end up having some scraps left over, so that'll be good because I want to maximize these pieces that we cut. But it got a little confusing. I'm going to admit it got confusing. So if I'm confused, then I definitely know some of you are confused. So stay tuned. I'm going to spend a few moments numbering these wings and numbering these pieces of cardstock so that when I do another video, I will be able to tell you. I might not do any die cutting. I haven't decided that yet, but I'll be able to tell you which pieces go with which wings. And so that'll give you a little bit better instruction, because the black's not confusing because it's all black. But oh my goodness, once you start getting into page number 3, all of these pieces right here that you see, yeah, y'all get me, right? So anyway, that's it for the cardstock cutting video. Stay tuned for the some better instructions for the die cutting of these thin cuts. But other than that, thank you, and we will see you in the next video.